The king was glad that both Usato and Inukami were safe. He also apologized for putting the two in a difficult situation. However, the king was confused as Usato slipped and told them that he was used to it, so he was nervous while looking at Rose's reaction, and he pretended that he often explores forests in his previous world. Afterwards, the king asked how his training with the rescue team went. Usato didn't know how to answer, so he stared at Rose before saying that things were going extremely well. The king was glad to hear it, while Rose's smirk made him feel like his mind was being trained by her as well. Inukami's training was rescheduled, so both her and Usato were dismissed. However, Usato was worried as both Rose and Siglis were asked to stay behind, and he also noticed the minister's grave expression. At the same time, Ryusen and Princess Celia arrived. Both were still worried about their safety, and Celia even added that Ryusen almost stormed out of the castle to look for them. Inukami thought Ryusen was reckless, so Usato wanted to spill how she was bitten by a venomous monkey, but Inukami tried her best to stop him. Usato was surprised when he found out from Ryusen that Rose trusted him, but he thought she just knew that their situation was nothing compared to his training. However, Ryusen was impressed and thought Rose really had faith in Usato, but Usato thought Ryusen was just a pure, kind-hearted man, as he took her words to heart. He was glad that he wasn't tainted, unlike him and Inukami. Afterwards, Inukami and Usato left to rest. Celia was amazed by how close the trio were, as she could see how happy Ryusen was every time he was with them. Ryusen replied that it was just because they were from the same world, so Celia asked if there was no room for her, and she hoped that he would at least call her by name. Ryusen agreed, so Celia was delighted. At the same time, the king started the discussion about the demon army. After interrogating the bandits, they found out that the monsters fled from the grasslands, terrified of something. All of them thought it was the demon lord's army, and Siglis was certain that they would go all out this time to invade the country. So the king immediately ordered Siglis to notify and prepare the mobilization of all the units, while he ordered Sergio to inform all the ministers. And lastly, he asked Rose to scout the whereabouts of the demon lord's army, as she was the only one in the kingdom who was capable of doing it safely. Rose was about to leave. However, the king suddenly left his throne and sincerely asked Rose to lead some troops again. Rose apologized and refused. She was still blaming herself for the deaths of her men. She declared that the scar on her right eye would never let her forget about it. She thought her conceit had led her troops to their deaths, and she realized that everything was over when someone dies. But it was the reason why she created the rescue team, as she wanted to lead a unit that saves lives instead of fighting. The king thought she had already achieved her goal, but Rose added that she wanted a subordinate that wouldn't die. The king thought it was impossible, so Rose explained that it was what the training was for. She also explained that healing magic, the ability to surpass human limits, and the mental fortitude to withstand anything are what she had been looking for in an ideal subordinate. The king realized that Rose was talking about Usato, so Rose added that he was her ideal subordinate, as his survival instincts, adaptability, and will to leave proved that he hates to lose. And the way that he never submits to her reminded Rose of her previous subordinate who died in her arms. Rose declared that it was why she decided to make Usato her ideal healer. Rose realized that she went off topic, so she apologized before leaving to scout the demon army. After feeding Blurin, Usato noticed an envelope that was addressed to him. Alec explained that Rose had left it, but this made him a little scared to open it. The envelope contained letters. One of them was telling him that he wouldn't have to train the next, and instead Rose asked him to deliver the other letters to a specific address. Afterwards, Usato asked Alec where Rose was, but he had no idea as she only told him she wouldn't be needing dinner before leaving. Meanwhile, Amila was overseeing the construction of the bridge that the demon army would use for their invasion. The Black Knight was also behind her, watching and complaining about Amila's enthusiasm. Amila scolded her for her lack of respect for her superior, but Black Knight didn't seem to care as she just walked away. Hyreluk was also around, so Amila's mood got even worse, thinking that he was just there to laugh at her. Hyreluk explained that he was just checking on things, so Amila explained that the bridge's construction would finish in a few hours, and they could finally start the invasion of the Linger Kingdom. At the same time, their subordinates reported that someone was present on the other side of the cliff. Amila thought it didn't matter, as they would finish the construction before the kingdom could prepare their troops. However, a log suddenly hit the bridge, destroying everything they had built. Hyreluk realized that it was thrown from the other side of the cliff, and Amila screamed in rage after seeing Rose. Although Rose was just planning to scout things out, she didn't mind delaying the invasion for a few more days. The next day, Usato followed the map given by Rose. He noticed that everyone's attention was on him, but he realized that they were actually more surprised that he was just walking around normally. Usato passed by the old lady who had given Blurin some fruits previously. She was surprised that Blurin wasn't with Usato, but she offered the fruit he liked, and Usato promised to buy some on his way back. At the same time, the lycanthrope girl seemed to be observing Usato. Usato finally arrived at the location indicated on Rose's map, where Orga's sister welcomed him. Yuru knew Usato, as Orga had already told her about him, although she failed to get his name right. Usato asked where his older brother was, so Yuru explained that he was examining a patient, and she offered to let Usato watch. Usato worriedly asked why they were sneaking, so Yuru explained that it was easy for Orga to lose concentration. Usato was amazed after seeing Orga's rich and fluid mana. He thought it was completely different from his. The kid completely recovered because of Orga's healing magic, but he was confused as people he didn't know were watching. And Orga was surprised to see Usato. Orga thanked Usato for delivering Rose's letter, while Yuru asked about Tong and the others, so Usato told her that they are as frightening as ever. Usato was curious why she stopped training under Rose. Yuru explained that, aside from failing to keep up and being better at healing others, being worried about her brother was the biggest reason. She also added that she felt bad about it, as Rose was really enthusiastic about training them. However, they also started to fear Rose, who was fanatical at times when the rescue team was just being built. Usato got curious after hearing this, but Yuru added that she seemed happy lately, so Usato thought it was because he had become her new sandbag. At the same time, someone arrived asking for help for his friends who had been injured in an accident. Orga asked Usato to come with them, and he also asked him to treat one of the patients. Usato was nervous, as he had only healed minor injuries before. However, Orga calmed Usato down, saying that he had the power to heal the person in front of him as long as he believed that he could do it. Because of this, Usato remembered how Rose trusted him completely during Inukami's training. Usato thanked Orga before completely healing the man's injured leg. Orga praised and thanked Usato. However, Usato wasn't confident that he did it right. But Yuru reminded him that the injured man was even surprised when the pain completely disappeared after Usato's healing. Afterwards, Orga suggested that Usato come to his clinic every time he's free, as it was pretty hard for them to handle everything alone. Usato happily agreed before leaving. Yuru praised her brother for being cool when he advised Usato. Orga laughed, but he got serious afterwards, and he explained that Rose's letter was a notice for them to prepare for the coming war against the demon army. Orga was worried, as both Yuru and Usato didn't have combat experience, but he believed that Rose must have prepared Usato for it. While trying the fruits he bought for Blurin, the little lycanthrope girl approached Usato, talking about a future that only Usato could see or change. Usato was confused, but he suddenly saw countless fallen soldiers before seeing the lifeless Inukami and Ryusen, who had fallen at the hands of the Black Knight. The lycanthrope girl declared that it was a favor that he would have to return in the future, but Usato was still confused by what had happened. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.